great. I see Roger and Mayor Wolgast making sure that Joni and Anita are well taken care of during this call.
I see that.
I see how it really works now.
Hi, I'm here. Hello?
Who is it?
Hi, it's Blanche.
Thank you.
Oh, good, Blanche.
Well, yeah, hi, everybody.
But we don't see your face. We just have you on the phone.
Well, let's see. I tried to, I can't figure it out on my computer, so it's just easier on my phone.
Hi, this is Terry Hobbs. Hello, all.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, this is the makeup for me.
Yeah, your second one today.
Nice.
So Roger, is your club doing these meetings?
We are. We started last Friday, so tomorrow will be our second one.
So we can do makeups with you.
Well, you got 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, forget it.
8:30. Hey, we even cut it, made it later for you, Anita.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm going to leave you for now. I'll be back.
If you're not back, it doesn't count as a makeup.
I'm waiting for your talk.
You go away, you're getting cut off by 5 after.
Uh-oh. What you want?
Oh, I was going to have you sit up here on my phone. Song that we had last week.
It's still in here?
I think so. Okay.
Did anybody watch the district meeting this morning?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Larry did.
It was very good, I thought. Helpful.
I thought so too.
Yeah, one of the things that they do, I was going to talk to Marie about, is they have Zoom socials. So I thought instead of a meeting, we could have a social with you bringing the beverage of your choice. Yeah. Yes, it was good. They had close to, what do you think, Larry, 70?
I think they said 70, 75, yeah.
75.
Yeah.
Is there another one scheduled?
Oops. I mean, it's under emails.
They didn't schedule it, but I think they may have, several a month, I would gather.
Can they make one at least 8 as opposed to 7:30?
I just showed up in my pajamas and didn't show my video.
There you go.
So, okay. A little smaller group than last week.
We're at 29.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So one of the things they talked about at 7:30 is for us to invite visitors to participate in our Zoom with us. So hopefully we will do that. That it's a good way to recruit new members.
So you'll have to tell us how to do that later on.
You do it just like you are now.
Just send the link to a potential member.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Another thing they talked about this morning is having youth exchange students participate in the meeting as part of the program, because the youth exchange kids can't give their usual presentation at the district conference. And they said even they could have youth exchange kids that have already gone home to wherever they're from to participate. So interesting ideas.
Yeah. We had Josie and Eva at our meeting last week. I didn't ask David if he was coming today and including them or not. So we'll just wait a couple more minutes before we get started.
I haven't seen Josie and Eva yet this morning.
going to take a picture of the link because I want to put it on my Facebook page of all of your smiling faces.
Give us a cheese.
Cheese.
Please.
Thank you.
Good idea.
And if we do a social, then we can do another one where we all have a nice beverage.
Yes.
This
Good morning,
was,
Vince.
hi, good morning. This was on the, this picture was on the district newsletter last week that I submitted. So,
Thank you, Vince.
yeah, all your faces.
That was a good article, I thought.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Joni, I want you to know that Lois is here, but she has to leave at 12:30 for a virtual bridge game. Do you see her?
I can see it. I can
There
see
she
it.
is.
I'm glad you have your priorities straight.
Larry,
I want to know how that works. I want to know how a virtual bridge game works.
I'll let you all know.
Oh, Terry, good job.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Terry. Good to see you.
Nice seeing you.
Hi.
Like a 1944 receptionist. The operator.
Yes. I'm just not moving the things to make the
that's
phone
right.
calls. Okay, so just so that you know, when we do get started, I'm going to mute everybody, and Joni will start. I'm also going to lock the meeting so that nobody else can come in, that we don't have any people who were not invited at this point in time. And I will, once Joni is done, then she'll just turn it over to Matt after that. But I'm going to let Joni make the decision of when we get started.
Okay. Well, shall we go ahead and get started? I think I see some good faces, and Dick is not sharing his lunch with the rest of us, so I think we should go ahead and get started with the pledge of
That's a lot.
I pledge allegiance. Is everybody off mute?
Yeah, everybody's off mute,
Okay.
or who wants to be.
Oh.
I pledge allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America, to the republic
To stands
nation,
Nation.
God,
God,
Indivisible.
and
Liberty and
justice for all. And that is just so cool to see everybody up close while they're saying that. Thank you very much. Thank you, man. You're not sharing your lunch either. Okay, so with that, we have Matt Pivarnik, who will be telling us what's happening in the city of Topeka during this pandemic to support small businesses. And I'll just turn it over to you, Matt. Or do we call you Grandpa now?
You could call me Grandpa or Matt, either way. So I will share a little bit. This has been these are extraordinary times. Trying not to use the words unprecedented, since that word is being used so much. So just to challenge us a little, very much extraordinary times. I mean, right down to what you just mentioned, Joni, and that is having a grandbaby is different than it was 4 weeks ago. And thank goodness for technology like this, so that I can be with you guys today. And so I can meet my granddaughter. I still haven't touched her or held her or anything like that. I've met her through a car window, and I've met her through Zoom and FaceTime and things like that. And all the way to my Marine who's stationed in Okinawa, who called me a couple days ago, and they got put on a lockdown there, and he's so upset. He's so upset because he doesn't get to take the 42-minute drive to another base in Okinawa to see his Navy nurse girlfriend. And I told him, I said, I'll be honest with you, Chase. Normally I will sit and listen to you and feel bad for you, but right now you're getting paid, you're getting fed, you have your job, And if the worst of your worries is not getting to see your Navy nurse girlfriend on another base, then you're calling the wrong guy right now. So let me just start by telling you how much seeing all of your faces means to me today. And I wish I could call each of you out one by one, but as you guys lit up, it lit me up. It's been a tough few weeks, and having interaction with folks like you just means so much. Seeing my coworker Vince here, he and I talked this morning and about whether I should wear a tie or not. Vince, I'm wearing shorts too, by the way, so it's business on top and party on the bottom right now. But I just want to thank each of you. I see your positivity. I see you out there in the community doing such great things, and just what this Rotary is doing to even respond to this pandemic. You all are always there, always there. I also just have to say that our partnership staff has exceeded my expectations in so many ways. Our elected officials are going really, really hard right now, and it is amazing. Our health officials, I cannot imagine being in Dr. Pizzino's shoes. We get Monday morning quarterbacked so much, and right now the decisions he's having to make, I'm glad it's him and not me that are making those decisions, and just citizens in general. I mean, I'll give you an example. Earlier this week, when we got the bad news that USD 501 that the kids might not be served, my phone lit up and people started calling me, and I didn't know how to fix that problem. But you know what I did know? We're in Topeka, Kansas. The kids will be fed. The kids will be served. I knew that part. We're in Topeka, Kansas. I don't know how it's going to be done, but the kids will be served. And so that has been just very heartening to me. One of the things that I've been reading about is our whole world has changed, and it's been turned upside down. And at the partnership, since the partnership's been created, we have all of these different organizations that are working on our economy and our community. And we all had we know what our mission statements are. We know what our vision statements are. We know what our purpose is. But a few weeks ago, our purpose was turned upside down. And everything that I have been looking at recently has said you have to have your own personal sense of purpose during these times. And so this morning, I try to send my teammates an email every morning. And this morning, I just decided, you know what? I need to get my sense of purpose. I need to get my purpose down on paper because it's different than it was before. And so let me just kind of share with you what I'm going through each day with my purpose is, one, to spend every ounce of energy I can to do our part to get Topeka and Shawnee County into a resilient and celebratory economic recovery. The second is to support our health and elected officials in any way possible to address COVID-19. The next is to ensure the Greater Topeka Partnership and all of its entities get through this time financially stable so we can lead an economic recovery and then continue the momentum that we built. Next is to get us fully operational as quickly as possible. And then last is to stay healthy and care for my family and my friends, which I consider all of you my friends. When this first started taking place, I will tell you a little story. I went back recently. I got behind on newspapers, and I went back and I started catching up on newspapers and reading newspapers that were 14, 16, 20 days old. And I was a little struck by everything I read that were maybe 20 days old. Most of it was wrong. And it made me realize that what we're hearing today a lot of it could be wrong in 14 to 20 days. And so part of it is I just think we have to stay just as nimble as we possibly can and keep moving as fast as we can. Immediately, though, where our hearts went is we are the keepers of the economy and the keepers of the community, and so our hearts immediately went to small businesses. You can just imagine having a small business right now and how scary of a time that this must be. And that is where we were losing our sleep and, quite frankly, wringing our hands. And at the same time, just thinking about displaced workers. So we feel so good that the virus itself is being focused on by the people that know how to do that. Last time I checked, my name's not Dr. Matt Pivarnik, it's just Matt Pivarnik. So we're very focused on small business and the economy and displaced workers. So we're working on that, and at the partnership we have Feast and Famine. Feast is, we have some employees like Glenda Washington, who oversees all of our small business programs. Poor Glenda is working 7 days a week, maybe 14 hours a day. And then we have other folks who, maybe like our events team right now, we're not doing a lot of events, and they're kind of in that famine area. So we were finding our way through the clouds in the dark. And on one Saturday, I think it may have been the first or second Saturday after this really got bad, I was at home a Saturday morning. My phone was blowing up, and I'll just be honest, my phone was blowing up, and it was mostly small business owners calling in despair, in fear, looking for a lifeline. What am I going to do? And I got one call from somebody that, not a lot of people know, but it's a neighbor, another neighbor of mine. Lon's a neighbor. It's another neighbor. His name's Scott Hunziker. And he called me. He's a small business owner. And I thought, well, he's calling, looking for a lifeline, looking for assistance. And I'm here to point him in the right direction. And when he got on the phone, he said, I've been talking to some folks, and I've got 10 businesses that are, we are all willing to put up $20,000 each to help small businesses. And our concept is we want to take this $200,000 and we want to go out into small businesses, and we want to invest it in the small businesses and buy gift cards or vouchers or gift certificates and infuse cash into some of these small businesses that are being hurt the most. And I said, Scott, that's incredible. You don't need me to do that. Just go do it. That's amazing. He said, well, let me take it one step further. We've been talking, and we don't want to keep any of this for ourselves. We would like to then take those gift cards and vouchers and products and services and put those into the hands of displaced workers. My goodness, this is incredible. I mean, that's a 2-for. And so I said, you know what? I think we could match that. I'm pretty sure that we could match that. And you can match it in your form by triage and getting dollars out into the small business community now. I think we can match it by doing small business grants and being able to help small businesses during the recovery period. And he said, well, do you need approval? I said, yeah, I do need approval, but I can go ahead and tell you, I know the hearts of my elected officials and my boards. Go ahead and count on that match. He called me back later that day and said, let me ask you a question. What if we raised $500,000, or what if we raised $1 million? Could you match that? And I said, well, I do need to start getting on the phone with some of my elected officials and board members before I say yes, but I have a feeling I know what their answer is going to be. We sped through it. We ended up doing a JADO meeting in person. They took our temperatures and things like that. And JADO stepped up big time. And I see John Wagner on the phone right now. Thank you very much for JADO. I appreciate it. And for that half-cent sales tax for economic development. You were such a huge part of creating that. JADO stepped up and unanimously said, we're going to put in $1 million. We hope the private sector continues their fundraising, but we're going to put in $1 million to help small businesses. And so that's been amazing. And I will say this, I don't think it's public yet, but I believe that with a contribution we got from the Nellis family, from Mrs. Nellis yesterday, I believe that we're over $600,000 on that private side. So that is moving very quickly. We've also, our staff has just stepped up and said, we need to make sure that our community and our small businesses have resources. So we started immediately with a daily email. And if you're not receiving a daily email from us, get a message to somebody on this distribution, send it to me, and we'll make sure that you're on the distribution for our daily emails. But we're trying to share as much information as we possibly can through our daily emails that we're sending out to the community. And we are getting an amazing open rate, and 15 to 20,000 people are reading the emails. We're not sending it to that many people. It's just they're being forwarded. But a lot of it is full of how does a small business navigate through this. But it's also very community oriented as well. And we've also created a website called supporttopeka.com. So go to that website, supporttopeka.com, and you can find so many resources. We're tapping into national resources as much as we possibly can to get the information out to our community. I will say this. I mean, it's been in the media in a big way. We're in the same boat as our members, and there has been a lot of great relief that has come from the federal government. It's been awesome to see some of that get into our small businesses. For us, functionally, 501c6s were left out. They didn't get included in the federal stimulus package, and so whereas small businesses and 501c3s and other organizations were taken care of, and it wasn't that we were purposely left out. They did that legislation very fast, and when they put their pens down, 501c6s weren't included. So as a lot of the businesses in our communities, nonprofits and businesses, we are being impacted by this from a revenue standpoint. So we've had to make some tough changes ourselves. And so I'm sure you've read about those and seen those. I wouldn't have it any other way. If our community is going through pain, our businesses are going through pain, I want to be able to go through pain with them. And so when their tide is rising, our tide will rise. And when their tide goes down, our tide will go down. And I wouldn't have it any other way. It's just the right thing to do. While we're making our internal changes, though, and they're all very temporary, I'll just say that we're going as hard as we've ever gone before. We're highly motivated. We have purpose. I see my coworker Vince on the phone right now. Vince is amazing. You guys know that. Curtis Sneeden is amazing. You guys know that. Glenda Washington's amazing. You guys know that. And just the spirit of our team is definitely exceeded my expectations. So let me just transition into see if you guys have any questions and just say this. Oh, there are some dark days and some dark hours, but for every dark moment, there's such a bright moment. And I'll just share one. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a place called Nanny's Soul Food. Nanny's Soul Food yesterday was supported by Post. And so somebody walked into Nanny's and bought an incredible number of gift cards from Nanny's. And Nanny's now going to be able to stay open because of that help. Nanny sent us a message last night and said that she is going to be working with one of our local nonprofits to provide a number of meals to our first responders every day. And she said, I want to do this to give back, but at the same time, I'm just appreciative, and I'm going to survive because of this. And so it's pretty darn cool. We are focused right now on triage, taking care of the business that needs to be taken care of right this second and right now. But at the same time, the city and the county and the partnership are going to start working on our recovery plan. And we're going to come out of this and we're going to be back, and it's going to be pretty incredible. And in order for me to stay motivated, and Vince and all of you, just having visions of what it's going to be like to have a resilient celebration and get into recovery. We're going to have that downtown plaza open. We're going to use that downtown plaza to celebrate our resilient recovery. So if you gave me an hour, I would talk an hour, but I don't want to take up that much of your time. I would like to ask any questions. If I can't answer them, I'll put Vince on the spot. But I really appreciate the opportunity for you guys to have us here.
Matt?
Yes.
This is Terry Wages. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you work with the governor or I assume she's the one, to redefine what safe distancing means for these small businesses? In other words, safe distancing could be 1 to 2 people in a vehicle, and as long as you didn't exit the vehicle, and a small business had less than 10 people, they would put them back to work. You need their services. You just drive up. They come out, either put it in the back of your vehicle or in through a roll-down window. But it seems like they've got them all shut down because of keeping people at home for safe distancing rather than in their vehicles.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you bringing that up, Terry. And there's politics involved. Unfortunately, don't you hate it when a national pandemic and a worldwide pandemic actually becomes political? I hate that part of it. But returning to work is important, and returning to our economy is important. And our focus is to return our economy and return to work. But at the same time, doing it in a manner that is respectful of our county health officials and now our state health officials. So it's a fine balancing act. We are weighing in. We do some of the things that you bring up. We do have a platform to where we can weigh in on that, and would be happy for you to shoot me an email or Curtis Sneeden an email or Vince and let us run that to our elected leaders. It's tough. And again, remember, I said that if you go back and read papers from 20 days ago, almost everything you read is wrong. And so we're trying to move as gently as we possibly can and navigate those waters. But I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think Susan Wago.
You got muted, Terry. Terry, you got muted. I didn't hear that.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I said Susan Wago seems to be open to a lot of ideas as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Terry has a question. Another Terry.
We have a lot of Terrys.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Is it my turn?
She's muted again. Terry, you're muted.
Self? How's that?
There you go. I can hear you now.
Good. I would like to know about what type of plan you have for opening businesses up, like industrial first. Do you have a plan like that where it's right down to the I don't know if the governor has a plan.
Well, I mean, it's not our authority to have a plan. It's actually the governor's, it's the states right now. My understanding is that the Fed supersedes state and the state supersedes the county. Right. What we are paying very close attention to is what is essential and what's non-essential. First few days of this, we were on the phone with the Association of General Contractors, making sure that construction projects could move on. We were also talking to the Frito-Lays and the Mars and the Reesers and making sure that food production and distribution could keep moving. Same with our major distribution centers. Quite frankly, we wanted to make sure the Walmart distribution center could move forward and be built. We think that'll be a boon to our economy, both to our hotels and our restaurants and to the construction industry. So we're taking that as we go. Again, we don't have the authority we have the authority to lobby. We don't have the authority to open a business and decide when that. Yes. And that's when we have to trust our healthcare officials.
I understand, but there is, I know, some pushback that you can stand up for.
Absolutely.
With the governor, and we expect that.
Yeah.
We don't want to be shut down. We want to work.
Sure.
No,
Absolutely.
Really, do you know that? Because we don't have incomes.
Right.
I mean, we're not like a not-for-profit. We have built incomes, and we're suffering not from the virus. You see? I want you to understand that.
Terry, I do understand it, and I'm with you on this. And we want nothing more than to get our employees back to work and our businesses back in business.
And the longer it goes on, the less likely it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things is that the flatten the curve versus the peak is interesting because flattening the curve helps our healthcare system, but it makes the economic downturn last a lot longer, and so it is a fine balancing act.
Yes, it is.
Matt?
Yes.
This is Joan. I'm also concerned about the people that are on unemployment.
and getting them back to work quickly is a good idea. But I wonder if it would be helpful if the governor or the Secretary of Labor temporarily suspended the requirement for those on unemployment to report weekly. It seems like, according to the Cap Journal this morning, they're stressed on resources.
Oh, yeah.
And that might help alleviate some of that.
I'm taking note.
And for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, you don't.
If I could interrupt, that requirement has been suspended. My daughter's applied for unemployment, and I've reviewed the paperwork. So they don't. I mean, there's no requirement that they do weekly. You know, they can't go out and look for work right now. So that's been suspended.
Good. Thank you.
Joan, another thing too is that I had one of my coworkers yesterday who unfortunately we had to furlough for a temporary time frame, and he actually thought that the $600 from the CARES Act was a one-time. There's a federal benefit that if somebody is unemployed, they will receive $600 a week, and so if anybody, you're talking to somebody, they need to file for their unemployment ASAP, so that CARES Act, on top of what they will receive from the state, that CARES Act can kick in as well. It's not just $600 one time; it's $600 a week for 16 weeks.
If there aren't any more questions, thank you very much, Matt. And there's a couple things I'd like to ask you to do. Now, I'm asking you, I'm not telling you. First of all, if you would get to us, or maybe Vince, you can do this, how if we want to purchase some of those gift cards as individual club members, how we can do that.
Okay.
And contribute to that.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, as things progress, if there is a role that a club such as ours can do, don't hesitate to ask. We'll do what we can do. And we're very, very grateful for what the partnership and the chamber has done. You know, we have this Topeka Pride thing going on right now, and I think our community has cause to be very proud. We've been ahead of the 8 ball, and it's showing. It's showing on the, while we have a number of cases, it could have been considerably worse if we hadn't made those difficult decisions early on, and if we as a community hadn't pitched in and worked on there. So congratulations to all of us as a community. We are proud of that. Are there any other comments before I move on?
I just want to thank Matt. He is such a positive leader. He is the right person, the right place, at the right time. Thank you, Matt.
Thank all of you, and thank Vince.
You know, can you hear me, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Picking up on what Terry Hobbs said, you know, none of us want to take for granted, you know, life, or to be sarcastic of the health people that are making these decisions. Sometimes you wonder, it is a fine balance, and if they're sensitive to the fact that the damage they might be doing to keeping people out of work. And because we always say, well, it's the health department or the health people that are making the decision, but, you know, sometimes they're not looking at from the business standpoint either, or the economy.
Yeah.
So I hope you push back on that as much as you can.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
With that, once again, thank you, Matt. And just pretend like you're signing the inside of a book that's going to go to Ross Elementary School. As I shared with you earlier, our service above self, which is the Rotary motto, has placed as our emphasis during this time food. and getting food to the different people. So I would just remind our members to check in with Meals on Wheels if you'd like to deliver meals to the aging. A number of their volunteers are no longer able to do that. So if that's something you'd be interested in doing, they have a safe way of you delivering the meals and will train you to do that. Also, harvesters' demand has almost doubled. Do I have that right, Jeanette? And they also need volunteers, but they also need money. And they provide food to a number of the food banks and nonprofit organizations that provide food. So by giving money to harvesters, you're helping these other organizations to do that. And the importance of giving money rather than a box of food is that they can leverage their money and get it at wholesale versus taking money from the stores for people like you and me who are looking for food. So I encourage you to think about how you continue during this time for us to do the service above self. Also, if you are volunteering at this time, if you would let Jeanette know where you volunteered, how many hours you volunteered, did you take a family member with you, and report that so that we can continue to meet our goals for the year. Lastly, one of the things I think it's really important, and we will see moving on the importance of it, is that you complete your census. That census and the data from that census will impact and affect the resources that our community receives in the future. So it's a real easy thing to do, to go online and do it. And if I can do it, you know that you can do it. It just takes a couple of minutes, but I urge you to make sure that you have done it and that your friends and neighbors are also doing it. The last two things before we end is that our attendance for the Zoom meetings is about the same number of members that attend our meeting. And I'm urging you to contact your fellow Rotarians if you haven't seen them at a Zoom meeting and see if there's a way that you can help them so that they can attend and stay connected. The past presidents are in the process of doing a survey to update all of our data and to check up on some of our members that we haven't heard from. I see some unfamiliar people that don't get to attend very often. It's really great to see you, Izu, and Raymond. It's good to see you. And then I see some familiar faces and people that keep me honest, like Joan and Betty. So it's glad to have you all here. But wouldn't it be wonderful for us to have even more of our members attend through this? We also will be taking a look at a way to have a Zoom social. And I just learned about that from District Club this morning, and I don't quite know how that all will work. But if there's a way to have a party, we'll figure it out. And so with that, is there anything else before we end with the four-way test? Can you unmute us, Marie?
Yeah. I'm wondering, can you hear me? I'm wondering if, what the next meeting is.
The next meeting is going to be a fun meeting. We feel like we've spent enough time looking at identifying the problem and how we're resolving it, but we're going to have a guest from Lenexa who will be Zooming with us and is a member of the Topeka Hot Air Balloon Club and the things that that organization does. So it should be a fun meeting, and it will be next Thursday at noon. And with that, shall we end with the four-way test? in the things we think
say or do.
Is it true?
Is it fair to all concerned? Build goodwill and better friendships to be beneficial
to all concerned.
Will it be fun?
It'll be fun.
Thank you all. It's great seeing you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.